Countdown. Kendrick Perkins, Michael Malone, Brian Windhorst. I'm Malika Andrews. Are you guys ready for this? We got a big day ahead. It's going to be a good one. You know, award season is here, not just because the Oscars are being handed out tonight. Do you have a best picture favorite yet? Perk wants to see how this plays out a little bit later. But we're getting closer and closer to the MVP awards taking front and center stage. SGA making a case for a second consecutive MVP with the run that he's been on here, right? He's averaging 31.8 points a game. That's second in the NBA, only behind Luka. And today, he's going to be playing in his first game after breaking Wilt's record, that 63-year-old record for consecutive 20-point games that happened last Thursday. And, Coach, you knew a thing or two about going back-to-back, coaching back-to-back MVPs. Nikola Jokic won, what, 3 of those awards? So does Shea look like he's going to win a second here?
He does. To me, he does. Yeah. I think he's the odds-on favorite right now to be the MVP. And not just because they have their best record in the NBA, because good players can carry you for the first 46 minutes.
Yeah, he's got the gene.
Great players take over in the clutch. And right now, they have 21 clutch wins, 4th most in the league. But more importantly, Shea leads the NBA in clutch points. And just this past week, we've seen 4 examples, one in the Garden against the Knicks. He knows what time it is. He gets to that step back, leads the league in step back jumpers. And the three-point shot has really developed this season, shooting I think a second best percentage in his career. But he lives for the moment. He's never ducking the spotlight. He puts his team on his back over and over. And it's been a joy to watch because that's what greatness does. They rise to the occasion.
Right after that game against the Warriors, he said, I have the answers to the test. I just have to wait for the question. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That is what they call a bar.
That's some sophisticated swagger right there. It basically means you can't stop me, and whatever you try to do to stop me, I will solve. And here's the thing about that. He's kind of right.
Your moves, I have counter moves.
I'm watching the way you bring the double, he passes it. You single him, he knows how to get open. They let him get away with a little push-off. Once he has that move, you
little push-off.
Yeah, some would say that was big, but some would say, Perk.
He is the Michael Jackson of basketball.
He's a thriller?
No, he's an artist. He's an artist, and every album that he puts out every single year goes diamond. When you talk about joining the elite company every single year, last year he joined Michael Jordan as the only player to average 30 while shooting over 50% for 3 consecutive seasons. Guess what? He's about to join Michael Jordan again this year for his 4th season, averaging over 30, shooting over 50% from the field.
Yep.
He's shooting 55% from the field. He's a top leader for his tough contested 2-point shots. I have never seen a guard this efficient in my entire life. When it comes down to him being able to score at all 3 levels, everybody want to make these gripes and complaints about him being the quote-unquote free throw merch. Look at this list right here, Coach. Look at this. And to see, this is David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Akeem Olajuwon, Larry Bird. He's beating all those guys. At 6'6", and he plays below the rim.
Right.
And you know what's amazing to me, Perk, is this. 1, everybody's game planning for him. So for him to put up all those numbers you talked about, he's getting a game plan every night to try to stop him. And 2, Wendy, what really impresses me about Shea is he is never in a rush. He never looks flustered, under control, poised.
He never even sweats.
And to your point about his quote, he's all right, what are you doing? And I have an answer for that. And you see that. That is a cool cat right there.
You said 1 and 2. I got 3. He's done it this whole year without his running mate in the backcourt.
Right.
Jalen Williams been out the whole year almost with injury. Hasn't slowed him down 1 iota.
It's easy to get bored, maybe even complacent with excellence, but SGA, he makes that boring work, if you will, that just something that he clocks into every single day. And it's turning into a really interesting season here for the Thunder. However, SGA's been great. And Edwards, though, it feels like there's no one who's been better in late-game situations than Ant, right? He's shooting a league-best 56% in the clutch this season. on 84 shots. Nobody has made more than his 13 clutch three-pointers so far this year. And, Coach, this is nothing new. He ain't new to this. He's true to this. He's increased his scoring every season of his career. If he maintains this 30-point average per game output, he'd be the only first overall pick in the modern draft era. Think of all the first picks there is to increase his scoring each of his first 6 seasons. So, Coach, explain, how the heck does he get it going, and how does he do it against OKC?
Well, it's a challenge against OKC,
right,
because they have the #1 defense in the NBA. And trust me when I tell you that their whole game plan is going to be, how do we slow down Anthony Edwards?
Believe that.
Yes. So we talked about Ant, his greatness, averaging a career high. And just on this clip, I want you to look at, they switched Chet Holmgren, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, onto him. They have the luxury of doing that. And then behind that, they have an elite paint defense, OKC. You know why? Because they shrink the floor. They show him a crowd. We're not giving you any room to operate. Minnesota has to do a better job of moving without the ball. Ant gets a decent look here, a shot he can make, but that's just a really good look at what he's going to see. To me, this is really important. This is later in the season, head-to-head matchup, setting screens up the floor for Anthony Edwards. Get Lou Dort off of him. Let him attack in space. Let him press Chet Holmgren's feet. Get into the paint. And we know right here, OKC is premier in terms of paint defense, but they do give up the three-point shot. If Ant draws 3 defenders like he does there, on time, on target pass, knocks it out to Dante DiVincenzo for the open 3. Expect to see a lot of that today, Malika.
Anthony Edwards, certainly the head of the snake here for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but OKC, this is what they do best. So let's take a look at some more numbers. That brings us to our head-to-head. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook here. Kendrick Perkins.
Yes.
We just laid out 2 elite scorers in Anthony Edwards and Shea. So who's going to have more?
I'm going with Anthony Edwards. You walk in with an Adidas sweatsuit and sunglasses, that means you about standing on big.
All right, how about who racks up more assists, Brian, Ant or Shea?
Well, Coach just showed how the Thunder are going to play him. They're going to swarm him tonight. He's going to kick. I like Ant Edwards getting more than that 4.5.
Well, speaking of that kick then, Coach, who's going to knock down more threes?
Oh, that's the Ant-Man. he loves the 3, loves the pull-up 3. No disrespect to Shea, but Anthony Edwards, expect him to have a big night tonight, and the three-point line will be a big part of that.
All right, on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oklahoma City so much. This is her 5th straight weekend in the Big Friendly. And now KG joining us this morning on SportsCenter. Katie, good morning to you. The Thunder, just 15 games left in the regular season. How important is getting the #1 overall seed for this team?
Well, Gary, good morning. Great to be with you. You know, I was talking to 2-time NBA champion Alex Caruso, and he put it to me like this. He said, last season we played 2 Game 7s here at home. They beat Denver in the second round in Game 7, and then, of course, they went on to beat the Pacers in Game 7 of the finals. And Caruso said, if we had to play those 2 games on the road, who knows what could have happened? And then Mark Daigneault, he's told us as well, in the playoffs across every team, the home team wins 66% of the time. And in the finals, that number is around 65. So home court advantage is extremely important. Now, Daigneault said he's more concerned about getting and staying healthy once the playoffs start. So he doesn't address the #1 overall seed with the team. He didn't a year ago. He says he's more of a let the chips fall where they may kind of guy. But right now, Gary, the chips are falling in a good spot.
Correct. The numbers don't lie to the Thunder. They have the best record in the NBA, and they have the best home record in the NBA, 28-6. You mentioned last year's title run. Jalen Williams was a massive part of that. However, he's been sidelined since February 11th with a hamstring strain. What are the Thunder saying about his recovery timeline?
We mentioned how many times I've been here over the last few weeks. We continue to hear that J-Dub is progressing, that he's doing on-court work, but there's still no definitive timetable or date for him to return. And I have to say, any other team missing one of their stars, that would be a concern, but that's just not the case when it comes to Oklahoma City. For the past 2 years, this team has provided and proved that it can adapt to whoever is available on a nightly basis. I mean, Shea has been fantastic. We've seen that. I mean, just this week alone has been unbelievable. A.J. Mitchell did not miss a beat when he returned on Monday night earlier this week. Cason Wallace is another guy that's developed into a starting guard in the NBA, and just the list goes on and on. I feel like the depth that OKC that they've created and developed should be studied by other teams, because Sam Presti, Mark Daigneault have done a phenomenal job. I don't think there's any reason to rush J-Dub's return because, quite frankly, right now they're proving they don't need him. But as you know, once you get into the playoffs, matchups are dependent, and certainly having a star like J-Dub will be necessary, and certainly he will help OKC.
15 games left in the regular season, so still a